Yeah, I don't want the fucking...
The first
episode that we ever record, what?
So they just parked their car to my left, and they opened up their trunk to take something out, and all I saw was, like, their taillights up in the fucking air, and then slammed that down.
The aliens are attacking. God damn it.
They were right.
I would be in the car when that happened. You hear him pull off, Donna, and he's like, fuck this.
I'd be like laying on the fucking horn. Y'all better jump down off the fucking porch into the corner. Like, I'm so worked out in there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to Unfiltered Unwound. I'm your host, Gunny T, the man, the myth, the motherfucking legend. I'm back, as always, with my co-host, the Dread Pirate, Eric Sugaroo. Let me tell you all a little story about Eric Sugaroo, okay? I met this motherfucker about 14 years ago. My best friend introduced me to him, and she said, this is my boyfriend. Now, I'm not going to lie. You know, she's made some pretty questionable judgment choices on previous boyfriends, so I was a little bit worried. But he held out his hand, and I shook it, and he said, what's up, man? I'm Eric. I said, what's up, man? I'm Gunny. But I looked into his eyes, and I saw something there. I didn't know what the fuck it was at the time, but I was like, you know, whatever it is, this guy's got it. I said, you know what? In 14 years, I'm going to come up with a dinky-ass podcast, and I'm going to make you a motherfucking star. This podcast is going to be like the equivalent of a straight-to-DVD film starring Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal, but it's going to be great. 14 years later, I called him up, and I said, yo, Eric, you remember when I told you that I was going to make you a star? He was like, yeah, man. I was like, we're doing it. He was like, okay, whatever. Anyway, welcome back to the show, Eric. How you doing, man?
I am doing fantastic. That was a very touching story. Really tugged at the old heartstrings.
It was all true, every bit of it. Also, joining us for the first time ever, we have a special guest, Miss Donna Sugaroo, Eric's wife. How you doing tonight, Miss Donna?
Fantastic.
Outstanding. So we have some special things in store for y'all. So apparently, according to TikTok, the aliens have ghosted us. I thought we were supposed to be attacked or something. What's going on with that? You guys know anything about that?
We have like 5 more hours. I'm holding out hope.
You don't care if they come, just, you know, either kill us or change something?
Please come on.
Well, when I first heard about all this, I had a healthy dose of skepticism. Now, I don't want to be on the wrong side of history. I don't want somebody to come back to this dinky podcast one day and be like, well, this motherfucker said. But I'm not saying it's not possible. But when they started talking about orbs in the sky and cubes in the sky over Washington, D.C., and started showing videos of it, I want to know why they weren't showing it on the news. The way that I feel about TikTok is that you can't, you know, it's the same as all social media. You can't really believe everything that you see on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Donna, I feel like you have a different, different outlook on it.
Contrary to what Eric believes, I do fact check a lot of the stuff that I see on TikTok. And I have not been able to find anything online that offers any kind of insight to anything that's been going on TikTok. Like, it's almost like it's all on TikTok and nowhere else.
So about
now, either that's like, there could be a couple of reasons for that.
Yeah.
Like, it could be just all TikTok, people doing the TikTok thing, or it could be news covering it up. Either way.
That's fair. So, the computer, the program, I don't even remember what they called it. I'm going to be honest and say that I didn't do a healthy amount of research for this episode, but there was apparently a program that predicted certain events based on, you know what I'm talking about, right?
It was an AI that was created in 2009 to predict the stock market. And they fed it information, and it was able to make pretty accurate predictions involving the stock market. So they fed it more information and started to get different types of predictions from it. And one of those predictions was that Joe Rogan was going to host a podcast.
And then he was going to have a special guest on the podcast, correct?
Yeah. He was going to have Donald Trump on there. It also predicted him being president. And this was before Joe Rogan had a podcast, because in 2009 he was still doing Fear Factor. He wasn't in a podcast at all.
Now, is this 100% vetted, or is this more TikTok propaganda?
I haven't been able to find a lot of information online about it. I did Google search it, but I didn't go super far into it. I mean, a lot of that stuff you kind of have to dig for it. But I wasn't able to find anything with just a simple Google search.
So you feel like everybody's just kind of Jim Jones and, drinking the Kool-Aid?
It could. I feel like that this story has legitimacy to it, but I can't find where it originated, so I can't say that for sure that this is the exact AI that was created. I mean, I know there was AI created to predict the stock market, but as for going as far as to say 39 days from the date of this podcast happens, when neither one of the events that are displayed in this prediction have even occurred yet, there's going to be a firefight in the sky between humans and aliens. This thing started predicting the stock market.
Right, fair.
I would like to interject real quick, but the Joe Rogan Experience did launch in 2009.
What's the Joe Rogan Experience?
His podcast.
Oh, okay. I've never even listened to his podcast. I'm sorry.
I'm going to be honest, I haven't either, so I didn't know what it was called either. I thought this was some other kind of TV show or something. And that, folks, is how you know the depth of the research that we do for these episodes. So if you guys have come to us for 100% fact, you've come to the wrong place. Even before TikTok, I mean, obviously there was Area 51, Roswell, New Mexico, the alien landing, and, the fact that everybody believed that we had bodies in a secret bunker underneath Area 51. There have been encounters with aliens for as long as there's been people, before the internet and before, modern technology, they were gods, they were deities, they were this, they were that, but there's tales as old as time about lights in the sky or strange beings. More in the TikTok era is the incident at the Miami Mall, where, if I remember the story correctly, it was a group of 5 teenagers that ended up getting into a fight after setting off some fireworks in the mall. Am I remembering that correctly, or do y'all have a different remembrance of that?
That's what I remember the story being, but there's also a lot of speculation around whether it was fireworks or gunshots, because people said they never saw fireworks, and then some people said they saw guns, some people said they never saw guns.
And then there's the one guy that apparently had a VHS camcorder on his shoulder.
Yeah, he was recording with a banana.
Yeah, who claimed that he actually saw an alien walking through the mall and got footage of that. So there was that. What confuses me is the fact that whether you believe in conspiracy theories, whether you believe it was a hoax or it was real, I don't understand why, if it was just 5 teenagers with fireworks, if there were guns, it makes a little bit more sense. But if it was just fireworks, why were there 20 or 30 Miami PD police cars there? Why did they have SWAT? Why were there helicopters? What was all that police show of force doing there if it was just 5 teenagers and some fireworks?
Yeah.
Hey, my theory on that is you got to think about Miami as a city. We look at Miami, we think that it's like this glorious, touristy, vacation paradise destination type deal, right? It's a pretty dangerous city. And you got somewhere where there's a large group of people, and then the suspected shootout in that area, you're going to call all cars, man. Like, everybody show up, because we have to put this down before innocent people lose their lives as bystanders.
That's a good
So
point.
let me tell you where the conspiracy theory comes in here. If you put in the coordinates for the mall, reversed, it goes to Antarctica. And that's where there's supposedly an alien base.
Yes, because that's how grids work.
I was going to make a grid reference, but I really wanted you to be the one to do it. Because you sound a whole lot more sarcastic than I do.
I know that you know how graphs work. I know that you do because you're very smart when it comes to graphing. And you understand that latitude and longitude is just a giant graph. So, like, if you take just about anywhere and, you know, put it backwards, you're just going to end up, you know, the opposite side of the map.
Mm-hmm.
And what's opposite of Miami if you're going from north to south? Antarctica. I mean, you're looking at, you know, like the same thing could be said about the whole idea behind the coordinates of the pyramids in Egypt. Is that, yeah, like if you switch your coordinates around, you're going to end up in a different hemisphere. And if you change from north to south and you're near the equator, you're going to end up towards the top or the bottom of the planet, and you're either going to hit the north or the south pole.
So the theory is that the aliens were using some type of travel, and they were inputting coordinates and put them in backwards, and they ended up in the Miami Mall instead of the base in Antarctica that they were supposed to be going to.
Are they specifying what type of travel, as in, i.e., interdimensional, or?
I mean, it could be any type of travel.
So just some sort of highly advanced form of travel.
Oh, yeah, clearly, if you're inputting coordinates into something.
Yeah. I would try to figure out why the aliens would be using our latitude and longitude dimension, like coordinates, when they're trying to find out places they want to go on the planet.
You know, that's a good point too.
Like, if we're looking at like a highly advanced form of life, I would guarantee they have a different way of mapping out planets than straight lines.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe the aliens are from America. I mean, you never know.
Fair enough.
Let me ask you a question, Eric. Do you believe in aliens?
Yes. Like, it's arrogant not to. 100%.
That's fair. Donna, do you believe in aliens?
Oh, yeah.
Do y'all believe that they're here?
Highly possible.
On this one. I believe that, I believe that they've been here. I don't think that they live among us like some people do, but I think that they have been here before and have had an influence on things that we don't realize they've had an influence on. Not maybe necessarily with the government. I don't mean it like that.
Right.
But we're
there are
this far
things that make you feel that way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Such as, let's say, you know, Eric referenced the pyramids earlier. I still, you know, even when, because I've watched, you know, so-called documentaries on how human beings could have done what they did with the pyramids, but in my heart, I don't believe that, because, you know, we're talking about the sheer tonnage of each of those blocks and, you know, just the technology of the time. I don't believe that we built those pyramids or any of the structures in Egypt without help. Does that make sense?
So there is a new, they recently found out that because of the type of soil that they were using to make the blocks for the pyramid, that they may not have actually been as heavy as they originally imagined that they were. Or
they
as
were
they are now. Not all of them.
Like, they found the site that they were mined out of. That's how they know how far the stones had to travel.
How far did they have to travel?
It was, dude, you're asking me specifics. I don't have specifics.
Well, I mean, you can ballpark it, right? Like, 70 kilometers for our friends overseas, or was it like 20 miles? Like, was it 3 miles?
It was miles.
Yeah, they were quarried from Aswan. Don't believe my how I pronounce that. About 560 miles away. Now, modern engineers have stated that in order for them to have built the pyramids in the amount of time that they said they built the pyramids, they would have had to, mine out and transfer those stones to be placed every 10 to 13 seconds for 22 years consistently with no breaks. That's, constantly, kind of like your KBS at McDonald's, like having your burgers ready every 13 seconds to go out consistently forever. It's not going to happen. Something's going to mess up.
Oh, yeah,
I honestly believe that the Egyptians lied about how long it took. Now, there's a lot of things that we've uncovered in history that don't make sense for the times and the technology that we had at those times. That they have extraterrestrial help? Probably. I really lean towards that more than just, strong Jewish backs and Egyptian ingenuity.
Whoa, man, you threw out a hard J there, buddy.
Well, we know that the Jews built them because, they were enslaved by the Egyptians at the time, but, I did deliver that kind of poorly. They're tough people, man. They've, been persecuted for thousands of years.
And they're still kicking.
They still survive. They're thriving.
Absolutely. More to your point, though. So I watched a documentary one time, and I can't remember what it was called. But there's a group of mounds, and almost like underground tunnels. They're mounds that make it look like there's tunnels. And it's in England somewhere, I believe. And there is an almost identical group of mounds on Mars. And
I did see that.
Oh, okay, so you know what I'm talking about. Now, I don't know, it was a documentary, I don't know how true it is, but if it is true, once again, I feel like that's more proof. So I have theories of my own as far as, I believe that Mars used to look a lot like Earth, and I believe that something happened on Mars, and that we may actually be from Mars, that they sent, the first people here from Mars. And the reason why I believe that is because they've already proven that Mars used to have water and that there is still water on Mars frozen at the polar ice cap. They also, like I said, those mounds and certain structures, I believe personally, and there's no fact behind this whatsoever, so, all you naysayers can fact check me, I don't give a fuck. But my own personal belief is that we came from Mars and we're fucking Martians. So technically we're aliens too.
I don't believe that.
No?
No, because where did Christianity come from?
Where did anything come from?
How did we go from being Martians or living on a completely different planet? Because, we wouldn't have known ourselves as Martians. We named it Mars. But how would we go from living on a completely different planet, having to go from that planet to a new one to start over, and then the civilization that's created has absolutely no idea about the world that we used to live in?
Okay, so have you ever seen the movie Knowing?
No.
Okay, well, in this movie, with Nicolas Cage, of all people, aliens have come to Earth, and a huge solar flare is about to wipe Earth completely out. But aliens are there, and they're gathering up children. They're gathering up young children who have bright minds, but they're not, I guess, corrupted adults who care about power and care about money and things like this. And they take them all to a completely different planet in a completely different part of the universe, but the planet is very similar to Earth. And then they let them start over there. basically as children to kind of build their own society and blasey. So why is it so, what if it was just children that they sent to Earth? Or maybe they destroyed all the technology so there wasn't a repeat. What if there was some grand arms race or some, big, kind of what's happening on Earth now?
Well, they did a terrible job.
Okay, that's fair, but you see where I'm going with this, though. I don't think that
saying.
It's unfeasible to believe that we were like, okay, let's start over there, but let's say fuck all this equipment and fuck all this stuff that destroyed us before. Let's start over and build something different, and then people being people, because we've already proven history repeats itself, and people are the worst of the worst. We were just like, okay, we'll just do it again here, but it's in our nature.
But also, at the same time, who's to say that, like Martians didn't come to Earth and cohabitate with, like, Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon man, and eventually, jump-started evolution to the Homo sapiens sapiens that we are now.
Well, that's an interesting take on that as well, because between Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon, where it was almost like a 5 million year leap in what Neanderthal was to Cro-Magnon, but there's no in between. Am I remembering that right?
They walked the Earth at the same time. There's evidence of wars between Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see, that I didn't know.
But like, it's kind of one of those things that, like, if you think about it, say look at Adam and Eve, right? So let's say that God is a Martian and he has a son, and he's telling this son Adam, I made you based on my image. You're, a carbon copy of me, essentially, and you're going to do as you're fucking told. And then,
and he says, you're not my real dad. I'm just kidding, go ahead.
I'm going to go find you a wife, outside of these walls, twice. Because, I mean, like, when you stop and think about it, there were other humanoid creatures on the earth at the same time as Adam and Eve that were not discussed in the Garden of Eden story. Because, as we know, Adam and Eve gave birth to Cain and Abel. Cain and Abel had wives. Where did Cain and Abel's wives come from?
That's fair. I always wondered that myself.
Yeah. Like, typically when you ask someone of that faith, where his wife came from, they always want to say that she was a close relative, that she was either a sister or somehow a niece, maybe, like a second cousin or something, and it's like, well, then you're still adding extra people. Like,
people that weren't discussed in the text.
Right. I mean, I guess Eve just had it fucking going on, but we also know that Eve wasn't Adam's first wife. His first wife was Lilith, and when she refused to, bow down to man, she was cast out of the garden. Where's she at?
But yeah, that's, those are interesting theories, and as far as, Bible texts go, to me, even when I was, more among the faithful, I always looked at the Bible as more of a tool rather than the absolute gospel, because, it was written by man, 5 different, to be exact. It's been translated and retranslated. There was the Council of Nicaea to decide what books went into the Bible, what books to leave out of the Bible. Nobody could agree. To me, it's a tool, But moving back to the aliens and away from religion, I got a question for both of y'all. We'll start with you, Eric. If the aliens were to attack tonight, and you had to pick 4 other people to be on your alien apocalypse survival team or your alien battling team, who would you pick? And you can pick anybody. You can pick comic book characters, movie characters. You can pick real people, athletes. You can pick people that you know. Who would be your 4?
Okay. Are these aliens hostile?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and say the aliens are hostile.
Master Chief.
Oh, shit, I never even thought about him.
The Doomslayer.
Okay.
Fucking Vin Diesel.
Just Vin Diesel.
Yeah, because he's never going to let any of us fall behind.
Right. And he never knocked on nobody!
Oh, damn. I need someone that's fun to talk to. Matthew McConaughey.
Holy shit. All right.
How did I guess like 10 people that you would have guessed, and I didn't get a single one of them right?
Yeah, I was going to say, she sent me a list earlier, Eric. I want to tell you who was on her list that she said that she guessed for you. These were people she thought you would pick. So the Terminator was number 1.
Fair.
Number 2 was Deadpool.
Damn.
Number 3 was Woody Harrelson.
That's kind of like Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, and number 4 was Bill Murray.
That's the best person to talk to. Can I re-choose?
No, you already picked your one.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with that list for me.
So that's your whole list?
Wait,
come on,
but I want to switch out Woody Harrelson with Jason Momoa.
Oh, man, Aquaman.
He can, if they're in the ocean, he can talk to fish, Okay, fair enough.
Knowing shit going on. He's all Mallory, and he knows all the dances.
All right, so my list, and Eric, I want you to tell me what you think about this one. At the very top of the list is Deadpool. I chose Deadpool initially. Second on that list is Kay from Men in Black. Third on that list is Ellen Ripley. And fourth on that list is Thanos with all of the Infinity Stones.
Man, fuck that. I do not want Thanos on my team, man. Like, that dude, he's too hard-headed. He's not a team player. He's only out for himself, and he'll snap you away if you don't agree with him.
Or he'll snap all the aliens away. I mean, you're right. It's a wild card. It's a toss-up.
He is. He's a
Exactly. Aliens fighting aliens,
I think that K would be a bad call. I would go with J or M.
What? Why K? Because Kevin, he just doesn't have like a Kevin.
I feel like he would be a bummer to be around all the time. You'd be like, can we shoot him now, K? No. You wait for them to come to us. We're on a diplomatic mission. But they're shooting us, Kay. I don't care.
Okay, that's fair. You got a good point. Back to Thanos. When I mentioned Thanos earlier to my girlfriend, she was like, that's cheating. Nobody specified what the rules of this were.
I mean, I feel like that's equivalent to fucking Goku picking Frieza for the Universal Tournament in Dragon Ball Super. Like, you really want a bad guy? You really want a bad guy having your back, one that's tried to kill you in the past?
I mean, better the devil you know? What if Ellen turns on me, I don't know. She was half alien at one point,
Oh, man. I feel like we're all going to die. Except for Deadpool.
Except for Deadpool, yeah. He's like a cockroach. He'll keep on kicking.
But Deadpool and Jason Momoa, at least I would die laughing.
That's fair.
But would they be jealous of each other?
They don't have to fight over me. It's fine.
All the homies get this, right?
Eric could be there going, hands off, guys. Protect her. But hands off. Okay.
Oh, no, Eric didn't put me on my team, so he's not on mine.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm dead.
Yeah.
I don't trust none of y'all motherfuckers.
Well, you know what they say. We're living in a simulation anyway, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of,
yeah.
Eric, you have a very, very interesting theory on, that subject in general. I would really like it if you would explain what your theory is for the fans.
So I'm very much a customer of the quantum consciousness theory that what makes us sentient, what makes us conscious is quantum energy that, is past in death. I believe that all living things are sentient. Like, you can't... There's not a living organism on this planet that does not have a defense mechanism against dying. Even grass. The smell of cut grass is actually a pheromone that grass secretes to push away bugs from eating them when they're wounded.
And they scream at low frequencies.
Yeah. Yes. They react to outside stimuli, which was, has been proven time and time again that if you talk nice to a plant, they grow better than if you're mean to them all the time. It really comes down to, I believe that you have consciousness throughout, every cell in your body. And that may even go all the way down to a subatomic level, seeing as how subatomic particles will behave depending on the situation that they're in, whether they're being observed or not. They react to what's going on around them. It's kind of plays a lot into string theory. It also, I just realized, I just found out today that I believe that this theory is called the egg theory. I don't know why it's called the egg theory, but the idea that we are all the same consciousness living at different points in time, meaning that everybody in existence across the universe is the same energy, just, different points in time, which means that everybody you've ever read about in a book was you, and everybody that will ever be written about was also you.
So you're me, and I'm you at different points in time.
Exactly, yes.
Let me ask you this, though, just how can we coexist at the same time, then? Or are we living in different times? I'm a little bit confused.
Well, so what we know is the laws of physics only matter at this macro level that we live in. Through researching of quantum mechanics, we have realized that subatomic particles do not have to abide by the same laws of physics that we do at this level. There are particles out there that can essentially travel back in time to change the outcome of what they were doing. Or they can go in one direction and then snap back to a previous position and go in a different direction. So there's a lot about the quantum level that we do not know and we do not understand. And we can only assume at this point that they're living in a different rule book than what we have to live by. That being said, our concept of time is completely man-made. We didn't understand it, so we put a label on it, and we decided this is how time works. What time is either the fourth or fifth dimension, so we don't know how things work outside of the three dimensions that we perceive. That being said, quantum energy may be able to coexist with itself at the same time and have completely different paths. That, like, pretty much essentially saying that you can have two Lego bricks that are actually the same Lego brick going into two completely different assemblies simultaneously at different points in time, but we perceive them as being at the same time. I don't know if that made it any clearer.
It did, yeah.
It did help.
As far as, how does that relate into your simulation theory? Or does it?
I don't know if it really relates to simulation theory. I kind of also believe in simulation theory because I feel like the odds are higher that we are in a simulation than we're not. Simply because there are so many man-made simulations that are constantly running, such as, like, I mean, video games. That's a simulation.
Right.
What if that's what we are? We are
just one.
Huh?
Just one big video game, or just one big simulation?
Well, like, what if we are a video game of some higher life form? We don't. How do you prove that you're not?
I want to say, if we're a video game of some higher life form, fuck them directly. They are sick, twisted motherfuckers.
Come with some cool requests.
That is an interesting take. When you speak of simulation, do you mean something akin to the Matrix, or?
I think the Matrix kind of nailed it on, like, one possibility of the simulation. I mean, that being said, like, parallel universes, you know, like, are they simulations? It really depends on what your definition of a simulation is. Is it that it's, you know, synthetic and created by something else, or that we're a thought? I mean,
yeah, that one gets me every time.
Like,
you know, that's still in very Final Fantasy X here.
Like, and it goes back to, like, I think I first started thinking about this the first time that I ever watched How the Grinch Stole Christmas, because, like, the entire Whoville, right? They were living on it may have been that one town. It may have been an entire universe. We don't really know. They only focused in on, you know, the town, Whoville. But they lived on a snowflake. And we all know that a snowflake doesn't exactly have a long lifespan. But they were able to, you know, like, have families and ancestors because of the way they perceived time.
Yeah. Interesting.
And, I mean, Dr. Seuss did that a lot. Like, he, Seuss. Yes, y'all been saying his name wrong. It was never Dr. Seuss. It was Seuss. He wanted his name to, sound like voice.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, you caught me off guard with that fucking one. Right? You said Seuss. I'm thinking Chinese food. Now I'm hungry. You know what the fuck?
And Horton Hears a Who, right? They were all living on a fucking speck of dust or a flower. Like,
yeah.
I mean, we love to think that we are we're the main character of this story.
Right.
But
we're the end all be all.
In all fairness, we could be a singular cell in a much larger organism and never know it. If you think about, like, Osmosis Jones, right? How, like, everybody had a job to do. They were doing, you know, but they were all the cells inside of your body. Just because we look at our cells and only see them doing, you know, like, what they do, we don't know what that perception is at that level. But we like to think that we are this is the universe. We love to think that we're the top organism in the universe. A lot of people like to think that this entire universe is only inhabited by us. Ridiculous.
I don't believe that whatsoever.
Right. But that's just what I'm saying. Like, we perceive the universe as being this giant, massive, ever-growing expansion. But, I mean, you brought up the Men in Black. At the end of the first one, dude, like, our universe, or our galaxy, was in a marble. These other aliens are fucking playing marbles with it. Like, that could 100% be what's going on. But we can't know because we can't see the forest because of all of the trees.
That's a good analogy. Absolutely.
I love that we found out that subatomic particles behave differently when they're being seen, because now we have an answer for if a tree falls in the woods and no one is there to hear it, does it make a sound? Maybe.
That was a lot more anticlimactic than I expected it to be. I thought you just cracked the code of the fucking universe.
Well, I mean, it's like, that was one of the things that they brought up with the whole simulation theory, was that, like, when you're playing a video game, right, when you are not in a specific area, or an area, like, you can, like, take, let's say Grand Theft Auto 5. It's a huge map, right? You can go up in a helicopter, and you can look off into the horizon, and you see buildings, but they're not very detailed, right? Because they haven't been rendered. Because you're not there to observe it.
Right. You're not close enough for them to start rendering.
Right. So, the fact that subatomic particles behave separately, because, like, so when we're looking at particles, when we are observing them, they are, we assume that they're like little balls, right?
Right.
When we're not looking at them, they're waves. So when we look at them, they're solid and have mass. When we're not looking at them, they're a spectrum. So, like, if you're, on a satellite and you're looking down and you're looking at the Amazon rainforest and you see all this green, that's an unrendered rainforest. And the closer you get to it is when you start noticing, all the different leaves and all the insects and the bark on the trees and the forest floor. But until you are right up on it, there's nothing there.
But if we go back to what you said about the particles behaving, so to speak, are we sure that it's because we are watching them, or are they reacting to light?
So they're reacting to being observed, because they even did a study where the particles couldn't have been sure that they were being observed, but they were being observed. They even had, like, a dummy in placement to give the appearance that they were being observed, and they still behaved as waves.
So they know that they're being observed.
Yeah, it's the consciousness.
Interesting. That is some interesting shit.
And so, like, the way that they found this out, it was an accident, because it was the twin slit experiment where they were firing electrons through this metal plate that had two slits cut in it. And they were observing how, like, as these electrons were being shot through it, that they were seeing, these little dots started showing up on the paper that was reacting to the electrons. Somebody, somehow, I don't know, like, what actually happened, but the experiment was set up to run again when there was nobody in the lab. And when they came back to the lab, that was when they realized that they ended up with a different pattern on this paper. They've even, like, tried to put, cameras to watch what happens. And they can see that whenever the particles go in front of that camera, that they're particle shaped, but as soon as they're not in the view of that camera, they become waves again. And we can see that by the reaction to, the paper or whatever that they're being shot on.
Are you trying to tell me that these fucking particles are shy?
Yes.
Is that what's happening here? Like we're watching them shower or something?
And that's the thing. It's like, how is that any different than pixelation?
Huh.
Like when
It's just loading.
when you think about a video game. But then that also plays into string theory that, they know they're being observed because other particles are observing them. But then there's also the theory that our consciousness is actually a collection of every cell in our body. Like, I talked to a psychiatrist one time. He told me about this experiment that was done where they removed tissue from this guy, and they kept the tissue alive however they did it, and they had him sit in a room, and they would have him watch, like, videos that would incite different emotions. And they would observe this tissue while his emotions were, being altered. And the tissue that was removed from his body was still reacting as it would if it was still in his body under these different emotions. We know that, like, when you're happy and you're in a good mood, like, your body's healthier. Your veins are more open. You get better blood flow. And then, like, when you're, under duress or depressed or anything, like, your body essentially starts shutting down at a physical level. Which is why, like, laughter's the best medicine because, yes, it does. It makes you more healthy. But they took that tissue and they moved it to another lab on the other side of the country and did the experiment again, and the tissue reacted the same way it did when it was near him.
Holy shit.
That kind of, supplements the effect that, like, people that receive organ transplants go through. Like, people get, like, a new liver and, fall in love with motorcycles because whoever had that liver before them, was like a motorcycle enthusiast. So, like, who you are, there's a whole theory that has nothing to do with your brain, but it is an amalgamation of every cell in your body. And is that really at the cellular level, or is that at the atomic level, or is that at the quantum level? Where is all of this consciousness?
At the player select screen.
Yeah. The fact, learning these things has told me one thing, and that is that we don't fucking know anything. We assume that we know some. There are things that we can back up with math, and there are things that we can, prove correct through, experimentation. We can make it happen every time and prove that it's correct. But there are a lot of underlying things that we don't fucking know. We have no idea. Like,
we don't even know why we need sleep.
Yeah, 100%. We just know that we do.
We just know we die without it.
Yep. And I mean, that's like these things are the things that affect day-to-day life as well as, like, supernatural shit. Like, what is it called? Where, like, people would, like, astral projection, right?
Right.
I think it's all a bunch of bullshit. I don't believe the people that say that they astral project. Because, like, that's like going up to someone that's...
You know damn well that if Mercury is in retrograde, people can astral project, okay?
There are declassified CIA documents proving astral projection. You and I have physically seen them on the CIA website ourselves.
Yeah, but that was also the 60s.
Well, they're dosing everybody with acid, so.
But also, there's a lot of things that the CIA said were true in the 60s that they're not. We consistently prove ourselves wrong. Now, for me to believe in astral projection, I would also have to believe that some of these people out here that are telling me that they're psychic and they can see into my future are telling the truth.
No.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair because when you think about psychics in general, they're so fucking vague that, and people want it to be so true that they kind of pull a bait and switch where they lead you where they want you to go.
They're just good people readers.
It's yeah, exactly. It's a hat trick. So I do agree with them there.
It's horoscopes and tarot cards, man. Like,
don't talk shit about my tarot cards.
I can deal out any combination of tarot cards and a reading for you, and you are going to find yourself in those cards somewhere. You are going to find some truth to it.
If the spirits tell me it's happening, then I'll be happier about it.
I
could take a 52 card deck of playing cards and assign each one of them, like a verb or a noun or something, and deal out a fucking reading to you, and you're still gonna find something about yourself in those fucking cards.
That's exactly what they do with fucking horoscopes. Now, just for all you fans that believe in horoscopes so strongly, at me, bro, I guess. But those fucking horoscopes are so vague that, of course, you're going to read that shit and go, oh, my God, that's so me. I mean, I totally, it's because I'm a Cancer. Nah, man. That's like, saying that everybody drives fucking cars. It's so vague. I don't believe
it's like reading a fortune cookie and thinking that there's something concrete about that American fortune cookie you get at your Chinese food restaurant.
But
really,
we still open the fucking thing and we still read it and we go, man, I didn't get a good fortune.
I eat the cookie before I read the fortune because I'm superstitious, but I also trust sushi at a Chinese restaurant. So I'm a thrill seeker, I guess.
You know what? That sushi's still kind of good though. If you were a real thrill seeker, get gas station sushi. That's how you know.
I've never had gas station sushi. I don't know, it's like that egg salad sandwich that Fry ate in Futurama and gave him worms, but they were good worms and they made him better. He was smarter and he was stronger and he was healthier than he had ever been.
I need that egg salad sandwich right about now.
And then Leela's bitch ass decided to get rid of him because she didn't know if she was falling in love with him or the worms.
It's always the worms.
Women, am I right?
No, women. Yeah. Wait a minute. But I think this would be a good place to wrap things up. Donna, thank you for being a guest on the show. Do you have anything you want to say to the? Absolutely. Do you want to say anything to the fans?
Thanks.
Alrighty. Great. That was rock solid right there.
Yeah.
Eric, do you got anything you want to say to the fans, bud?
Grow a beard and be somebody.
Truer words were never fucking spoken, okay? Sometimes all you need is a beard. Alrighty. Remember, everybody, gas costs money, but it's free? Not being a piece of shit. We'll see you next time.
Yay!